There was another side hustle, which a little less risky, but you're having a little less income as a result too. I was referring to other ways you can make little bits of money. So if you heard about Uber, obviously everybody knows Uber. So if you think about from that mind state, there's actually another company called Turo, Turo. They are the equivalent type of company, not for the taxi cab drivers, but think about it for the rental car companies like Enterprise, Avis, Hertz, Budget Dollar, or whatever it is. Well, Turo is an amazing site because it allows people like you and me to rent our cars to other people. And this was a great opportunity for me to take advantage of. So my first experience to that is when we went to Chicago about 5 years ago. We were like, man, I'm tired of just getting this cheap van or this cheap, Chevy Cruze or whatever they're going to give, for the rental car. I want to have something nice. We went to this one site. It was called Relay Rides at the time. I found that an actual Range Rover. It was a couple years old, but it was a Range Rover nonetheless. Never had it, never drove it before until that point in time. It was only like $75 a day. I'd rather pay $75 a day for a Range Rover than to pay $30, $40, $50 a day for some mid to large size vehicle. That very simple. I was like, man, this is actually not a bad thing. It was cheap for me. It was almost the direct to consumer type of thing. And I asked the owner of the car, I was like, hey, how much are you making every month? And he said anywhere between $1,600, $1,700. I was like, wow. So from that point, I started doing research. I had my eyes set on, BMW as the company of the car that I wanted to rent out. I had a check, and it was 10 grand, got it. And that was that. I had like a 1.99% APR, which was great. My car note ended up being about $182 a month. It was a 10-year-old car at the time, but I was making $30 to $40 a day from Turo renting it out. On average, on a month's period, I was renting it out between 15 and 20 days out of the month. So if we go with 20 days out of the month at, let's just say $35 a day on average, you're making about $700 a month. Minus the cost for the car note, which is $182. You're a little over $500 there. And then I just added it on to my existing insurance, which was about another $40 or so. So I ended up, making a little less than $500 a month using this car. And I didn't even have to pay for it. I'm just collecting, additional cash flow. Just like everything else, though, I reinvested back into the car. So every time I had a check from Turo, I was putting that towards the principal or putting it towards any repairs that may be needed. All in all, I had it for about 2 years, making about that much every single month. During the days it wasn't rented out, I was using that instead of my primary car, so I don't have to put the wear and tear on that car. Ended up selling that car because I was like, man, if I can get something that's slightly newer, maybe I can make more money. So I put that car towards, the sale of a newer BMW that was about 7 or 8 years newer with the same frequency of rented days, so 15 to 20 days per month. Some are higher, in certain months because those are the vacation months. Others, they're a little bit slower, like, maybe March, April time frame, something like that. But all in all, the average, I didn't double the income that I was making, but I significantly increased it. So looking at, the amount of money that I was, renting it out for on average, it was probably a good $50 to $55 on average that I was making. So going with $55, a day on average with 20 days, let's just say I'm making over $1,000 a month. Now the car note, it was about $15K once I added the value of the BMW or subtracted it out of there. So $15K, I was roughly, my car note payment was about $285 or so, right? So $1,100, $1,100 minus the $285, minus an extra $60 to $75 for insurance and stuff like that. I was still making about a good close to $800 a month from Turo. One disclaimer though, if you start getting really good at it and you're going to have a lot of people that want to rent your car, you got to beware. You know, then it becomes work. It starts to become work as you get more and more people wanting to rent your car out. So you find tricky ways. You know, you can have blackout periods where you don't rent it out at all, or you raise the price to dissuade just the normal person wanting to rent your car. Raise it up at a ridiculous rate, so the only the ridiculous ones you'll take, and maybe you'll make you'll probably make a little less money because the frequency will go down, but at least you'll have more peace of mind. You won't have the frequency of the people, especially if you don't need the money. But if you're trying to find a side hustle and you need to grind it out, that's an excellent opportunity for you to be involved with.